and leniency when he showed none for Jennifer. It is a request of the Alfonso family that the maximum penalty of life in prison be imposed for the murder of my daughter Jennifer. And in addition, the notion that my daughter was violent or abusive is an insult to me and my family. That's a fantasy that he created and the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Carolyn?
Family expect any compassion and leniency when he showed none for Jennifer. It is a request of the Alfonso family that the maximum penalty of life in prison be imposed for the murder of my daughter Jennifer. And in addition, the notion that my daughter was violent or abusive is an insult to me and my family. That's a fantasy that he created and the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Carolyn?
Ma'am, if you please come forward, state your full name for the record.
My name is Carolyn Anderson Knox.
Jeanette, if you would kindly swear her in.
Do you promise swear that testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes, I do. Good morning. I wanted to say a special thank you. Forgive me, I'm very nervous. To you, Judge, for the fairness and level-headedness in the work that you do. Thank you. The State Attorney's Office, I can't even express my gratitude. There's no way that I can ever repay these people for the way that they've represented my daughter. The police, especially the officer that took care of my granddaughter that day, I cannot repay him ever for what he did for her. The coroner who took care of my daughter's body, I cannot express my gratitude to these things that I could not do for my daughter at that time. They did, so I'm eternally grateful. I know this is supposed to be an impact statement, but I can't imagine that anything that I would say would have more impact than what was shown in the trial and all the horrible things that were shown and things like that. So I thought I would share with you some things that have had impact on me. Jennifer was killed on August 8th, as we know, which is the day after my birthday. So that's very impactful to me, to say the least. I have very happy birthdays, of course, because I have my family that love me, but it's bittersweet, of course. The first date that was set for the sentencing was my mother's birthday. And yesterday was the anniversary of my mother's death. My mother was also killed by my stepfather in the same way, more or less, that Jennifer was killed, so that's also very impactful to me, to say the least. So I just wanted, I know you saw and heard a lot of things about Jen during the trial, but I just wanted you to know that she wasn't just a victim, she wasn't just a body on the floor to be discovered. She was a wonderful, amazing person. She was very forgiving, funny, smart. She had so much to give. And now, unfortunately, that's gone. She was turning into the woman that she was going to be. And that's not going to happen now. My kids are the most beautiful thing in the world to me. I cannot put into words the loss that I feel. There are no words. I experience joy every day, and I'm thankful to God for every day that He gives me to try and be the person that I need to be. But every day I suffer. I miss my daughter. I wish she was back with me, but she's not. She's never gonna. I miss everything about her. I miss braiding her hair for work. I miss giving her advice. I miss taking her advice. I miss laughing with her. all the things that we did together. And I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. I don't envy you your job. But just keep in mind, while you're doing your horrible task that you've been with, that Jennifer is not going to come back to me in 25 years. She's not going to come back to me in 40 years. She's not going to come back to me at all. Just please keep that in mind. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nothing more further from the stage.
Mr. Dunn, if you would like to have the members of the family that are present to stand just to be recognized, I will give you that opportunity if you wish.
Everyone here on behalf of Jennifer, please stand up.
Thank you all for being here. You may be seated. Anything else on behalf of the state?
No further witness statements. Now we reserve the right to make a brief statement after the defense is put on whatever they need to present.
Defense, would you like to make a presentation in furtherance of sentencing?
Good afternoon, or good morning.
Good morning.
Sam Zangan on behalf of Mr. Medina, along with Rick Gager and Mercy. We will not be calling any witnesses, and at this point we're going to make a determination as to whether or not Mr. Medina is going to make a statement, and then I reserve the right to make an allocution after the government's conclusion.
If you'd like a few moments, I will give
Yes,
that to
ma'am.
you. And defense, if you would also like to have the opportunity to have anyone in support of Mr. Medina stand, I'll give you that, but please speak to Mr. Medina first.
Did I take the jury with it? No. Mr. Medina indicated he wishes to make a statement.
Mr. Medina, please, that he does, I'm sorry.
Yes, Judge.
Mr. Medina, if you would please stand, state your full name for the record,
Derek Medina.
and Jeanette, if you would kindly swear.
Yes, Judge. Raise your right hand, Mr. Medina. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mr. Medina, you may.
Focus Barack Obama president on this corrupted world that I will be suing. Focus again, presidents and future presidents of the world, okay? I will be suing this world. Not only that, Unfriended the movie by Universal Pictures came out with a movie before my trial, which was unfair, okay? Which was biased. And pretty much the point that I'm trying to make is I did not get a fair trial. And I will be taking action, I will be suing. And I want Barack Obama, the President of the United States of America, to focus on corruption. Corruption is a big problem that we have in the United States of America and all over the world. Nothing further. And God knows the truth, and nothing further.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. You may be seated. Anything further from the defense?
Other than reserving the right for the allocution.
Did you want to have anyone here on behalf of Mr. Medina stand? You don't have to. You're welcome to if you wish.
And as I go here, for the stand.
Thank you all for being here. You may be seated. State, would you like to make argument in furtherance of sentencing?
Yes, Judge. And I will be brief because really there's not a whole lot that I can say. I don't think that the family, Jennifer, has not already said best. It's very clear from the South Korean support that she was very loved. She's very missed. And I know the court said that. As the court heard from numerous members of Jennifer's family, they are asking this court to impose the maximum sentence, and the state is asking for the same. We would like to remind the court as to the evidence, just briefly, that was presented in this trial. This was not a sudden act. This was not a spontaneous act. The evidence in this case showed that Derek Medina walked methodically upstairs to the bedroom of his home before retrieving the gun that he would use to murder his wife. He wasn't frantic. He wasn't rushed. He wasn't hurried. He was calm, he was cool, and he was collected. And he confronted Jennifer while she was sitting in her kitchen doing nothing to him, minding her own business, making pancakes for Isabel. Now, we'll never know from the video exactly what happened in that kitchen because we couldn't see it. But what we do know for certain, Your Honor, for an absolute certainty, is that it didn't take very long for the bullets to start flying. A mere 30 seconds or so after entering that kitchen, Derek Medina began unloading that gun into his wife. And make no mistake, Jennifer did not die quickly and quietly. Jennifer died in a terrifying hail of bullets, Your Honor. 8 shots, point blank range. And Jennifer saw each and every one of them coming, Judge, every single one. And how do we know this? The injuries to her body tell us. Even the defendant's own medical examiner testified to the position that she was in as she was being shot. Left arm raised above her face. She knew what was happening to her. She felt it, and she tried to defend herself. And we can only imagine the terror that she must have been experiencing at that moment when this man who supposedly loved her, this man who she married twice, was emptying his firearm into her defenseless body. And she was cornered, Judge, like an animal. She couldn't even move. She couldn't escape. And as if that wasn't bad enough, as many members of the family alluded to, what did he do afterwards? He didn't call the police. He didn't get Isabel. It wasn't enough that he had to take an innocent life, Your Honor. He had to make a spectacle of Jennifer's body. He had to take a photograph of her and put it up on the internet for all of her friends and family to see. And they did see it. And it was horrible. That is the act of a depraved and callous individual, Judge. That is the act of a man with no regard for anyone but himself. And we know exactly why he did it, too. He told us why he did it. You'll see me on the news, Facebook people. That's what he was thinking about. He was thinking about his own publicity. You know what he wasn't thinking about, Judge Kalani? He wasn't thinking about Isabel, his own step, who was upstairs in the room by herself, whom he left alone to discover her mother's dead body. Can we only imagine what would have happened if Isabel had, in fact, come downstairs and found her mother? Thank God that that didn't happen. And that is who we have to thank for that, God. We don't have Derek Medina to thank for that. So as Isabel is sitting there for an hour, oblivious to her dead mother right under her feet, who actually helps her? The police. The police officers. They're the ones who helped her. They're the ones who saved her. And they showed more regard for that little girl than her own stepfather. They're the ones who took steps to shield her as she was being taken out of that house, to make sure that she wouldn't see what this man did to her mother. So, Judge, as I told the jury in my closing argument, and I'll tell you, Jennifer can't be here to speak for herself. The only people who could be here today to speak for her are the people who knew her best, her family. And they've told you in great detail and with great emotion what they want to see happen in this case. And the state shares their request. We believe that Mr. Medina deserves to spend the rest of his life in prison for the murder of Jennifer Alfonso. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, State. Defense?
Thank you, Judge. What I will say is this. The finding of the jury was a finding of guilt with regards to second-degree murder, which shows no avenue or attempt of premeditation, which seemed to be peppered in the inception of the government elocution. And so what the legislature has done on charges of second-degree murder is given the court discretion to give a sentence from 25 years up to life. That is within the court's discretion. So the court has to look at factors which are determinative as to what the appropriate sentence is. I don't wish to sound callous, but every murder has a victim. Every murder has people that it affects. That is the part and parcel effect of a homicide. There are ramifications, there are losses, family members are affected, individuals are affected. And so what we ask the court to do is we ask the court to somehow look at the flip side in reference to the government's statement, or let's review the facts. What's uncontroverted in the evidence that was presented at the trial was that there was an argument between the defendant and the decedent that was precipitated by the decedent. The decedent's daughter testified to this in her video statement. The daughter testified that Mr. Medina was attempting to the verbal altercation. And what the video also shows is that the decedent manipulated a door alarm to bring Mr. Medina downstairs, and that's when the incident occurred. Mr. Medina has no criminal history. He immediately resolved he immediately turned himself in after the incident, and he gave a statement to the police. Without that statement, without him giving up his right to move forward without counsel, prosecution's case would have been substantial. We'd ask you to take into account the foregoing as well as the fact that the court has complete discretion on a second-degree murder case. And we've asked the court not to penalize Mr. Medina for exercising his right to confront the charges. He made no statements during the trial which could be deemed to be an obstruction of justice. And we've asked for the court to give him a minimum sentence of 25 years.
Anything you would like to say? First of all, before the court announces the sentence on Mr. Medina, I would like to take a moment to thank both the counsels from the state of Florida as well as from the defense team. This was a long process to get this case to trial. Both parties worked very hard in preparation for trial, and during the trial, they all worked very hard and gave very thorough presentations, and as well as today. The jury has spoken, and therefore today Mr. Medina will be sentenced. Mr. Medina, if you would please stand. Mr. Medina, on the day that you struck down your wife and you left your stepdaughter upstairs with the possibility of her finding your wife's deceased body on that floor, you foretold your future. You wrote on Facebook that I am going to prison, and that is where you will be going. Today, the court will find you guilty on all counts, will adjudicate you guilty on all counts. As to count 1, second-degree murder, the court at this time will be sentencing you to life with a 25-year minimum mandatory. As to count 2, throwing a deadly missile, the court will hereby sentence you to 15 years in the state prison. And as to count 3, child neglect, the court will hereby be sentencing you to 5 years in the state prison, with all counts to run concurrent and with all credit time served. Court costs will be imposed. The state is DNA required.
Yes.
DNA will be taken today. Is there anything further from the state of Florida this morning? Anything from the defense? Okay. May I ask the defense, is there a requirement of having the public defender appointed for appeal, or will that be being taken care of? Okay, please let the court know immediately. Okay, thank you all. This concludes our proceedings, and my best wishes to all of you. We will be in recess.
Please rise. You may be seated.
This will be the